And then the second one that ties into all of this from the recommendation perspective is credit cards are also changing for these, again, the group of people that you talked about. And so for those that aren't familiar, two companies in particular, Chase and American Express, have been memed into oblivion basically because they're changing how their cards work now. And so they're calling them coupon cards instead of credit cards. Because the way that they're working is it used to be a $95 annual fee, and you could get this card from American Express. And then they would give you some benefits to kind of like soften the annual fee, blah, 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 blah.
Mm.
What has happened in recent years is that fee has just like spiked ginormously. And so the new, I think it's like a platinum card from American Express or something, is like $895 a year to have this credit card. And the way that they justify it is they give you what's called credits to individual companies. So for those that don't know, Resi is owned by American Express. And so they give you $100 per quarter, so $400 a year in Resi credits. And so what's basically happening is people are now basically getting this money that's like going to burn a hole in their pocket. And they're basically going to have a choice of this restaurant reservation ecosystem. And so as an example that talks to counterpoint, Chase is using OpenTable. Interesting. And so now it's like everybody online is talking about like these individual cities having more Resi restaurants or more OpenTable restaurants. And so if you live in San Francisco, maybe don't get this card. And so I just want restaurant owners to be aware that all of this stuff is happening. You might be getting marketed to death on some of these things, depending on where you're operating. But I do think it's this is a person who is basically in the income bracket that you want to be coming and eating at your restaurant, depending on the place that you have. And it's also like quote unquote free money that they're, experiencing, where it's like, hey, I have $100 to come here. Is there a world where you can kind of like restructure things so that you encourage people to spend maybe more than what that $100 is, so that you as the restaurant ultimately benefit? You're still going to get paid, I can imagine. But it's just two very interesting, like, landscape changes. We're going from like Google Blue links and SEO stuff to AI large language model recommendations. And you're seeing that across like trip planning and the way that people plan an entire vacation. And then we're also seeing credit cards used to be like one, way that people might like get a little bit of cash back on dining or whatever. And now it's like the cards are just like these totally different beasts. And how do people decide like where are they going to go? Is that something where you can take advantage from being a regular perspective and say, hey, like, we're actually going to form a relationship with these people who actually show that they're paying with this quote unquote credit. And again, I don't know if the restaurant can see some of this stuff because it's just you put your card down but is that something that you can train your staff on? And hey, if we see a credit card that looks like this, we want to make sure that that person, like, they get it every quarter. And so is there a world where like every quarter we can encourage these people to come back to us, as opposed to, you know what I mean, going to another place that might be a competitor? And so I don't know. Do you have thoughts on either of these ideas?
I think it's just, the whole credit card thing, it's just, it works for some people. Like, I know there's people that like really like spend a lot of time on like the perks and the benefits and whatnot. For me, it just seems like so much work, but I guess it works for some people.
I
Um,
switched and I was like, none of this like coupon stuff. I switched to a card that's like gives me 3 to 4% back across like everything. And that's the change I made. I was like, it's not worth my time to like juggle all this stuff.
Yeah, it's like its own day job. And then regarding the ChatGPT, I'll say that I don't use it for restaurants. I do use it for book recommendations, and that's kind of been my go-to. And it's just, it's just such a transformational tool. So, it's interesting to see for sure. And I do wonder, like, as we go on further, how much more integrated. Now I'm also worried, like, how much more integrated everything's going to get with ChatGPT. So, it'll be
Well,
interesting.
I should also add, just for people, because I'm starting to experience some of this stuff in this really kind of like creepy way from a data perspective. If you are already using a large language model for questions about your restaurant, make sure to like eliminate the context window or do an incognito search in some way, shape, or form. Because if the LLM knows from memory that you have a restaurant called blank in blank city, it will probably return your answer and you will basically get bad data because it already knows that about you. You know what I mean? So of course it's going to give you what it thinks you want to see in sharing your own restaurant with you. And so if you're going to do that exercise that I showed you, it's a little bit like Googling your own name. It can kind of be like a weird experience, but make sure you wipe everything clean. And so you're experiencing this as if you are a random office worker at a startup or something like that, searching for a restaurant recommendation in this area.